7 Mercedes prototypes that were built, finished, and ready, then stopped. These are the cars Mercedes doesn't talk about. Let's get into them. Number 7. Mercedes-Benz F400 Carving. In 2001, Mercedes showed up at the Tokyo Motor Show with a car whose wheels leaned into corners like a motorcycle. Not the car, the wheels. The F400 Carving had a computer-controlled suspension system that tilted the outer wheels up to 20 degrees mid-corner, the same way a skier leans to carve through a turn. At full tilt, the car generated 28% more cornering force than any production sports car of the time. In an emergency stop, all 4 wheels could tilt simultaneously, shaving 5 meters off the braking distance from 60 miles per hour. Pirelli built custom tyres for it with 2 completely different tread patterns on the same tyre. One for straight lines, one for corners, because no existing tyre could handle what the suspension demanded. The F400 also had steer-by-wire, no mechanical connection between the steering wheel and the front wheels at all, a technology Mercedes didn't offer on a production car until 2 decades later. But here's what stopped it. The technology worked. It worked completely. Mercedes confirmed the numbers, documented the results, and then decided the system was too complex and too expensive to put into any car at any price. The F400 Carving went into the museum. The tilting wheel system eventually appeared in a stripped-down, comfort-only version on the 2014 S-Class coupe, with the performance capability removed entirely, 1 prototype, 1 motor show, and a technology that the world still hasn't seen in full form on any road car. Number 6. Mercedes-Benz Vision Gran Turismo. Mercedes built this car for a video game, then they built it for real, and they still never sold it to anyone, because there was no category on Earth where it could legally compete. In 2013, Sony invited car manufacturers to design dream machines for Gran Turismo 6. Mercedes took the brief more seriously than anyone else. Their designers built the Vision Gran Turismo from scratch, a single-seat racing machine with 577 horsepower, a hybrid drivetrain, active aerodynamics that adjusted automatically at speed, and a body shaped entirely around downforce with no compromises for road regulations. It lived in the game when it launched. Then Mercedes looked at what they had built on a screen and decided to build it in the real world. The physical car, fully functional, fully drivable, was revealed in 2017. It weighed 2,183 pounds. The active aero system worked at speed. Every system operated as designed. But here's the problem. It was not road legal. It was not race legal. The regulations that govern closed-circuit competition have weight minimums, safety requirements, and homologation rules that the Vision GT was never built to meet. There was no series on the planet where it could start a race. Mercedes had built what they believed was the most aerodynamically efficient car they had ever produced, and there was nowhere to put it. No price, no production run, no customer, no competition. One physical object that started as pixels and ended up in a museum with no purpose other than proving Mercedes could build it. Number 5. Mercedes-Benz C111. For 10 years, Mercedes showed up to motor shows with a car that made people lose their minds. They showed it in Frankfurt, they showed it in Geneva, they showed it in Chicago. Wealthy collectors offered blank checks. Mercedes said no every single time. The C111 debuted in 1969 with a Wankel rotary engine, a type of motor that produced extraordinary power from a small, smooth-running package. The first version made 280 horsepower and hit 160 miles per hour. The 1970 update pushed to 350 horsepower and 186 miles per hour. Both had gull-wing doors, an orange fiberglass body, and an interior that looked like something out of a space program. Nothing on the road in 1969 looked like it. Nothing in 1970 did either. Mercedes kept developing it. When the Wankel engine proved too thirsty and too dirty for new emissions laws, they swapped in a turbocharged diesel, and that version set 9 world records at Italy's Nardo test track in 1976. Then came a twin-turbocharged V8, making 500 horsepower that lapped Nardo at 251 miles per hour in 1979. But here's what Mercedes never explained clearly. They showed this car for a decade. They set world records with it. They had customers offering unlimited budgets, and they never sold a single one. The official reason changed depending on who you asked. The plastic body didn't pass safety standards, the Wankel was too unreliable, the timing was never right. 10 years of motor shows, 10 years of not yet, and then silence. 13 of the 17 ever built belong to the Mercedes Museum today. The car that was never for sale is now one of the most valuable unproduced prototypes in automotive history. And Mercedes still won't give a straight answer about why it stayed that way. If you're not subscribed yet, this is the moment. Hit subscribe and let's keep going, because the next 4 are the ones Mercedes really doesn't want to talk about. Number 4. Mercedes-Benz C112. Mercedes unveiled this car at the 1991 Frankfurt Motor Show as a production supercar. People lined up to put money down. 700 deposits came in. Then Mercedes gave every dollar back, cancelled the car, and never fully explained why. The C112 was the road version of the Group C race car that had just won the World Sports Car Championship back-to-back in 1989 and 1990. A 6.0-litre V12. 408 horsepower, 6-speed manual, 0 to 60 in 4.9 seconds, top speed of 192 miles per hour, gull wing doors, a rear wing that deployed automatically, and an air brake that cut stopping distance by 330 feet from 190 miles per hour. Active suspension adjusting at every wheel in real time, radar cruise control and tyre pressure monitoring, technology that didn't exist in any production car of the era. This was not a sketch, not a design study. It was built to global safety and emissions standards. Mercedes had confirmed it was ready for production. But here's the problem that nobody fully agreed on. One account said the economics didn't work. Another said environmental groups in Germany made a high-powered supercar politically impossible. A third said Mercedes had decided their motorsport results were already building the brand. They didn't need a flagship sports car to do it. 700 people had already decided they needed one. Mercedes kept the deposits long enough to count them, then sent every dollar back. The only C112 ever built sits in the Stuttgart Museum. 8 years later, the Pagani Zonda, built around the same Mercedes 512 engine that powered the C112, filled the exact void that Mercedes had left open and refused to explain. Number 3. Mercedes-Benz SLC 500 Le Mans. A German racing driver built this car on his own. No factory support, almost no budget, specifically to prove it could outrun the cars that professional factory teams were fielding at Le Mans. Then Mercedes found out. And they blocked it using an argument that had nothing to do with the car's speed. Hans Heyer was a veteran German racer who believed a modified SLC 500 could be more competitive at Le Mans than anyone expected. He quietly assembled a private team, built a 5.0-litre V8 producing around 800 horsepower inside a road car body, and took it to Michelin's test facility for evaluation. The results were extraordinary. The SLC prototype was faster around the circuit than the average Formula 2 car of the era. In a road-derived Mercedes coupe, built by a private team with almost no resources. Heyer submitted an entry for the 1982 24 Hours of Le Mans. The car was ready, but here's what Mercedes used to stop it. When management discovered the entry, they refused to grant permission for a private car wearing their name and badge to race at Le Mans. The official reason they gave was not competitive concern or brand confusion. It was the 1955 disaster. Mercedes invoked the memory of Pierre Lévesque's 300 SLR going into the grandstands and killing 84 people. The accident that had ended their last Le Mans campaign, as the reason they could not allow a Mercedes-badged car to race there under any circumstances. It was legally and historically defensible. It was also a convenient way to ensure that a private car built on a shoestring budget never got the chance to embarrass what Mercedes was officially doing in motorsport. The SLC Le Mans never started. The car survived and passed into private hands. Its current location is not publicly confirmed. And the official reason Mercedes gave for blocking it has never been seriously challenged, because you cannot argue with 84 people killed at Le Mans in 1955. Heyer knew exactly what he had built. Mercedes made sure the world never found out. Number 2. Mercedes-Benz Nardo record car. In 1979, Mercedes built a machine with one single purpose: to go faster than any enclosed vehicle had ever gone on a closed circuit. It did exactly that. Then Mercedes locked it away and never explained why it existed. The car was a single-seat prototype built entirely around speed. A twin-turbocharged 4.8-litre V8 producing 500 horsepower. A body designed from the ground up in a wind tunnel. Drag coefficient of 0.183, lower than almost any car built since. No passenger seat, no back seat, no interior beyond the essentials for the driver. A live telemetry system transmitting data to a pit crew while the car ran at full speed, because the speeds involved made real-time monitoring a requirement, not a luxury. On May 5, 1979, at the Nardo high-speed oval in southern Italy, the car averaged 251 miles per hour for a sustained run, a world closed-course speed record. The driver later described it as unlike anything else in motorsport. Not the brief sprint of a drag strip or the rhythm of a road course, but a continuous mechanical commitment to one speed held for miles at a time, with nothing between him and the air but a small windscreen. But here's what Mercedes never explained. They broke the world record, documented every number, filed the results, and then said nothing about what came next. No production plan, no announcement, no follow-up program. No statement about why a machine that had just proven it was the fastest closed-course vehicle in history would never be made available to anyone outside the company. The record stood for years. The car went into storage and eventually into the Stuttgart Museum. And Mercedes has never given a satisfactory answer about what the whole exercise was actually for, other than the fact that they could do it, and now they had. Sometimes that's the only reason Mercedes needs. Number 1. Mercedes-Benz T80. In 1937, Adolf Hitler personally authorized construction of a car designed to hit 465 miles per hour. Ferdinand Porsche designed it, Mercedes built it, and a world war ended the whole thing before it ever moved under its own power. The T80 started as a racing driver's obsession. Hans Stuck, one of the most celebrated German drivers of the 1930s, wanted Germany to hold the absolute land speed record, and he convinced Mercedes to build the car. He pitched the project to Hitler directly. Hitler saw it immediately as a propaganda weapon, the fastest vehicle in the history of the world, running on German soil, broadcast live to an audience that would understand exactly what it meant for the nation that built it. What resulted was unlike anything ever constructed. 6 wheels. A DB603 aircraft engine, the same V12 used in Luftwaffe fighters, producing 3,000 horsepower on a fuel mixture that was mostly methyl alcohol. A body designed by Heinkel, the aircraft manufacturer, with a drag coefficient of 0.18, better than most purpose-built race cars made decades later. 2 small wings at the center of the car to prevent it from lifting off the ground at speed. A custom 6.2-mile stretch of the Dessau Autobahn, 82 feet wide, median paved over, prepared specifically for the attempt. German television was scheduled to broadcast it live. The target speed kept rising as British drivers kept setting new records. By late 1939, the T80 was targeting 465 miles per hour. The attempt was set for January 1940. On September 1, 1939, Germany invaded Poland. The attempt was cancelled. The engine was removed and returned to the Luftwaffe. The car was moved to a garage in Austria and stored for the duration of the war. Allied forces discovered it after the war ended. They filed the specifications. The world land speed record at the time of cancellation was 369 miles per hour. John Cobb raised it to 394 in 1947. The speed the T80 was built to reach, 465 miles per hour, was not exceeded by any piston engine vehicle until 1964. 25 years after the war made the attempt impossible. The T80 sits in the Mercedes-Benz Museum in Stuttgart today. The engine was never reinstalled. The car has never moved under its own power. The tyres were tested to 466 miles per hour in 1939 and certified as ready. They have never been used. It is the most powerful car Mercedes ever built. the most extreme prototype on this list, and the only thing that ever stopped it was the Second World War. 7 prototypes, never sold, never delivered, and every single one still sitting in Stuttgart. Proof that Mercedes built the future and decided to keep it. The cars didn't make it out, the technology did. It's in every Mercedes on the road today.